It's Thursday night. You would know what that means. Pals Pulls is live. I, your host, Sean, am joined by Kale.
What's up, hot dog?
And Marco.
What's up, food product?
We are not joined by Tyler tonight. Tyler's off.
Good.
I don't even know what Tyler's doing, but
Yeah.
Tyler is not here. We have 5. We're talking
Count 'em.
5 books tonight. We decided to do an extra one just because this was such a huge week in comics. So we've got Hellfire Gala #1. This is the
excellent
only
variant.
this is the only correct cover, by the way.
That's the only. What's the only purchasable cover?
Yeah, all the other ones,
Hellfire one,
yeah, they don't even exist. We've got AV or AXE, Eve of Judgment #1.
Did you just say
What?
AXE, not Axe?
Yeah,
It's an acronym.
yeah.
Why would you say the word that it is and not the initials?
Fair enough.
Daredevil #1.
Well, that's a good cover.
Yeah, it's a nice one. What's funny though is that as much as this is called Daredevil #1, this is like the least #1 comic book I've ever read. We'll talk about that more. Immortal X-Men #4. This is also the only cover.
Number 4.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
And Dark Crisis, Worlds Without a Justice League, Superman #1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you say all of it? Did you get all of it in there?
Yeah, that's the whole cover. I mean, that's the whole title. Somehow I got that mouthful out. So yeah, we got a lot of big books to talk about today. Welcome Traps Lord, welcome Sylv Stevenson. Yes, 5 years. No Chainsaw Man, absolutely not. You'll have to kill me.
Can't believe this.
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man himself is gonna come kill you.
That's fine. I'm ready for that.
After the evening you've had, I'm sure you'd take a chainsaw to the face.
Why not? All right, so before we get into the reviews, I do want to let you guys know how you can support and follow the show all over the place. We've got our links in the description of anything that we've ever done. You can find it somewhere on the screen. But I do want to specifically shout out patreon.com/thecomicspals, where for as little as $3 a month, you can support the show. You can check out our newsletter, which drops every single week from one of the pals. We have our 300th episode of the main show coming up in just 2 weeks. So if you want to submit a voice note or a video or something written to the show to let us know how you feel about the show, say whatever words you feel like saying about this podcast, please feel free to do that. You can write to us at thecomicspals@gmail.com. That's the best place to send us any kind of like non-written thing. Anything that's written, you can put in the comments section of this. If you're watching on YouTube, wherever you catch us, you can put it there, and we'll get to it. So we would love some audience participation on that.
Something I would love specifically is some erotic fan fiction.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I
Get those ships in there.
Any who do you think between the 4 of us is the weirdest ship? I think it'd be me and Sean.
I think so. There's no.
Probably.
You know what? I feel like that'd be too easy. There's too much like tension there, right? Like, and that can be easily translated into sexual
Yeah.
tension.
All right, that's fair.
not for me. I'm not that type of person. If I'm unhappy or angry, I'm not interested.
Kale and Tyler.
I would bet that's an unexplored ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Not the one that you go to right away.
Yeah. Me and Marco, obviously.
Easy.
OTP.
I'm sure that there's a possibility for that to happen in real life. That's all I'm gonna say.
The fan fiction or me and Marco hooking up?
You and Marco hooking up.
Said I had to leave the country for a reason.
Speaking of Chainsaw Man, though, we're going to be reading Chainsaw Man for our next book club. So if you want to read along, volumes 1 through 3, and that'll be dropping the first week of August, first Tuesday of August. So you've got time.
Second.
Second. Wait, no, second.
The second, like the second. Like
August.
Okay.
the second, yeah.
The 2nd of August. So if you want to, read along with us, go do that. I have no expectations, so we'll see. What I did have big expectations for was Hellfire Gala #1 this week.
Yes.
So Marvel decided to do the Hellfire Gala this year in a bit of a different way. They condensed it all into one singular issue, which I am now holding up, the glorious Jean Grey cover, the Art Germ cover of Jean Grey. And they basically put everything into this one issue, including the reveal of the next X-Men team. This book had quite a few artists on it, at least. A few artists worked on this. So it was written by Jerry Duggan, with art by Chris Anka, Russell Dauterman, Matteo Lolli, C.F. Villa. They all did the art. Color artists were Rain Barreto, Frank Martin, Matt Miller, and Matthew Wilson. Corey Pettit did the letters by himself. So big book to letter. I noticed they never really like add multiple letterers to a book, but in a weird way, I kind of think that would be the most jarring thing you could do.
Yeah. $7 for this book.
$7.
Whoa.
Yes. Was it worth it, Kale?
No, it was not. I don't know if Marvel's trying to get us to pay by the word now, or maybe by the shitty male characters, but man, I did not like this book. I want to, before anything, I think I want to complain the most about Iron Man's tuxedo armor. What the fuck is that?
What's wrong with it?
What isn't wrong with it? It's a holographic jacket and a yellow belt.
Oh, it's just like a see-through shirt.
I thought it was kind of interesting.
First of all, not a tuxedo.
True.
Who in their right mind would wear a T-shirt with a tuxedo? Answer: no one.
Tony Stark.
Or Elon Musk.
Well, there you go. Right, 2 supervillains.
Ugh.
He looks really comfortable, and if I had to go to an event like
Then
this,
it's not a tuxedo.
if I had to go to an event like this is not a bad way to go. Like I don't know about the red, but he looks like he's chilling. I like that.
The undershirt definitely needed to be more skin, right? Because then you have the sheer on top to be able to show stuff off. Like you gotta work with what you got there at that point.
Well, okay. So beyond that costume, what did you think of the issue?
I made that crack about the men in the issue, but it really felt like every man in this issue was just out to be a douchebag. And I don't know if that was like what Jerry Duggan was going for, but like almost uncharacteristically, every man in this book just pushed me over the annoyed edge.
Spider-Man?
You didn't feel that?
Spider-Man felt a little out of character.
Spider-Man was just annoying. That's his thing.
Proteus? Reed? Cap?
We didn't do much.
Cyclops?
Cap was fine. Cyclops, definitely.
Why?
It just felt, I don't know, off. Like, he was trying to hassle Emma about, eventually we learned it's, right. But I just didn't, everybody felt bad.
Wait, how did he hassle Emma? She was hassling him.
In the beginning when he showed up. Look, I'm telling you how it felt.
But I want to know why. Like, I guess I don't.
Maybe it's because this was supposed to be from Emma's point of view, and Jerry Duggan actually did something right for once and let us feel Emma's frustration toward all these people, because she does make a comment about all these men and all these people coming to her to talk about resurrecting their loved ones and all that. And she's mad at Cyclops because of whatever is happening in X-Men, and this whole business is his fault or whatever.
But even Clea comes up and like,
Yeah. And I'm including her in that too.
it felt apropos for like where we're at for the story, where like people are now like, okay, the veil is gone. I need to be upfront with you about like my intentions, and like everybody knows, and because it's public knowledge, I can just talk to you about it openly. I don't need to be covert about these things, and I'm able to just have that conversation with you, or try to have that conversation with you, because now I need intel. Now I need my in Clay's example, for anybody else that walked up to her, now I need something from you. This is going to be my advantage. And I had fun with this issue. I kind of liked how these pieces fit together, because they're playing off of her. She has the power at the moment, right? She's playing cards with Tony Stark, but she has the upper hand. Even though he wins, it doesn't matter. She still holds all the chips, and that's exemplified in like pieces of the art where they're legit just playing cards, and they're having this discussion about, well, how do I influence this so I can get something out of it, or I can learn more information. I don't know. I thought the issue was pretty well done.
So, all right, let me set the table, because I feel like we haven't really been clear about what's even happening. So, the biggest thing is that at the same time that the Hellfire Gala is happening, the Daily Bugle has published an article about the fact that the X-Men are essentially immortal. The title of the headline is Immortal X-Men. And this is a long story that they've kind of been building towards in the pages of X-Men. Cyclops has kind of spilled the beans. But if you'll recall, Cyclops died. And to protect the secret, they brought him back as Captain Krakoa.
Right.
But the reporter, Ben Urich, knows that
He figured it out.
Yeah. So instead of like letting it get revealed later and it hurting them, he just decided to spill the beans and take control of the narrative, or at least attempt to. And so for Emma, that kind of, it's kind of problematic when you're trying to have a big party, to have this huge revelation, that now everyone kind of wants something. They're all the humans are sort of naturally like, well, hey, you gave us medicine that'll let us live an extra 5 years when you guys can literally bring yourselves back. Like, get on the horn, bring us all back. So it's a lot of problems. Most of the issue is people talking to Emma, her telling them where to go, and that's the meat of it. But there's a lot more to it. This is a very long issue with a lot of moving parts. I would argue too many moving parts. I don't think it needed to be this long, but there's so much that goes on. And they tried to keep up to the spirit of the prior Hellfire Gala with some real-life celebrity appearances. The only one that I caught was John Hamm, but were there really no others?
It looked like it was mostly comic book people. I think CB Cebulski was there. Jordan White, I think, was there. I'm sure there were more comic people in there, but I couldn't. Those were the ones I spotted.
Right. And that's pretty much the issue. Reed has now told Tony that that Charles and Magneto removed or kind of altered his memory. So Tony now has like a more specific axe to grind.
I was confused about that, because Reed doesn't seem to have a problem with it.
Like bothered.
I didn't get the impression that he was unbothered. I got the impression that he felt like this was a very, very delicate thing. And
right,
so he wants to talk to Tony about it in private.
Right.
But
Okay.
there's nothing to immediately do.
Yeah.
So it's a thing that happened. We take this into consideration. What are next steps? And we need to be diligent about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy the gala. You know, it's a fun event. There's a lot of problems that come up. There were some good moments outside of the like actual party. I really liked the scene with Sync, where he's now aging when he uses his power to sync with someone else's power who's far away, and he's doing it from memory. This is the first time that a comic book character I felt looked like me.
I could see that, yeah.
So that was actually pretty cool for me. But I gotta say, like, there's other cool moments, and we'll get to some of that. Oh, seeing Surge was a huge highlight for me. I haven't seen Surge in a comic book in a while, so she has like a moment in one of the first few pages. But what I really don't like, what I'm just not like having an easy time accepting, is Moira. Her new characterization is just it's bad. She's teamed up with Orcus now, which okay, I guess. But the way she's talking, I think it was you, Kale, like a few months ago, you said that they turned her into a mustache twirling villain. And I didn't agree with it. This is the first issue that I've read where I really felt it. Like,
yeah, it was particularly bad here.
This is like the worst possible outcome of what Hickman was doing. I don't know if Hickman was going there. We'll never know. We'll probably never know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't think we will.
It also added a weird layer of regular ass supervillain to have her possess Mary Jane Watson or whatever, and then have Spider-Man involved. Just like, why? Like they explain it, and it's like, all right, fine, but it's the most Marvel thing ever to shoehorn in Spider-Man and Mary Jane.
That felt like a part of the issue that was bloated. It's just we didn't need the interaction. We didn't need the interaction with the purple dude.
Proteus. That's her son.
Moira McTaggart's.
Yeah.
Not Mary Jane, right? But like,
yeah,
it felt like, to your point, it was ham-fisted to have them interact in that way, and then because all right, what do we get out of that? Nothing. She just escapes afterwards. And he doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
Well, I think she's planting the seeds of something, which is fine. You know, that's her son. I get that. That's for future stuff. But it had to be Mary Jane Watson, like.
Well, also because then you get Wolverine to come in, and then the to be continued in Amazing Spider-Man #9. So you got to get the plug in there.
That was annoying, and it also was annoying that it felt like, I don't know, was it just me, or did it feel like people who should know each other just didn't? Like they kept calling Mary Jane the model. Like Mary Jane has interacted with a lot of the people that are in this comic book. And they just kept calling her the model, like they didn't know who she was. Emma and Iron Man have a conversation in this book where it's almost as if they just met right now, when we know they've had a sexual relationship. Not just, hey, how are you? They've had sex. So that was really weird, and I don't know if it was just like me, or maybe Jerry just didn't have the time and space to more clearly establish that these characters have relationships, but it felt very weird.
Dissonant for some of the characters.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I was getting more than anything else, in relation to what I was saying earlier. It just felt like stuff was off, just all over the board.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to disagree with that. But I had fun. Like, I was frustrated reading this, don't get me wrong. I was. But I did have fun. And that matters. That counts for something. I like Firestar, so they kind of... She makes the team, ultimately. And they establish or revisit the fact that Emma wasn't kind to her, and that Emma is a reason why Firestar is not more of a proper X person. She doesn't, I don't believe, live on Krakoa, and she kind of is like separate from the mutants by and large. But she makes
Who is she?
Firestar.
Yeah.
Well, she's Firestar. She's a
Ancient character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in the 70s Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon.
Get out.
That's
Holy
why
shit.
Iceman is on the team, and he's excited about her being there. Maybe that's why they put Spider-Man in it, actually.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I wasn't even mad at Spider-Man being there. Like, fine, sure, everyone's there. Why not Spider-Man?
Yeah.
It was just the way it all went down that was kind of frustrating. And I think even if Moira's dialogue was different, I would have accepted it. It's just that there's no nuance to the way that she talks anymore. There's no subtlety or intrigue. She's just, hey, I'm bad now. I never wanted you to be my son, blah, 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 blah. Whether that's true or not, I know she has an angle that she's working, but it was just so over the top villain crap for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of the new team?
All right, so let's talk about the new team. So, talked about Firestar. Iceman is also on the new team because Firestar is on it. Magic is a part of the team. Forge, Jean, Cyclops, Prodigy, or Sync,
Sync.
and Havoc. All right.
Solid.
The choices felt weird to me. Not the outcome, but the way it all went down. Like in the first Hellfire Gala, it was all, telepathic voting or whatever. But I thought, okay, I think this is my confusion. I thought Cyclops and Jean were taking themselves out of the running, meaning they were taking themselves off the team to be voted to be replaced.
No,
but that wasn't the case.
The Quiet Council for Jean was at the beginning is what they were talking about.
And that was actually a flashback.
Yeah.
I did not like the reveal of it because, first of all, adding Scarlet Witch to the mix, come on, man. Like, really?
It still feels weird.
Yeah, I'm not with it. I'm
Did
not.
she just die?
Right, especially after all that. Like, that only just wrapped up.
Yeah.
Well, now she's like a friend of the mutants.
Yeah.
Post Trial of Magneto.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't jive. Like, I don't understand why she's so embraced now by them. And she's the one who makes the announcement about who's going to be on the team. In a book that had so many characters and so much going on, I really didn't need this. I would have preferred her to just not be a part of the unveiling at all. I didn't love the way it was done last time, but I thought this was worse somehow.
Yeah. The last time it was wrapped up in this larger reveal also of like Mars and whatnot. And I think this felt a bit smaller, but also just not as it felt disjointed, because I remember the voting all happened simultaneously. Everybody would reach out and express, and there was this cool way to visualize it. Here it's just people are talking through the telepathic bubbles, and then a consensus has been reached. Here's your team, and they just kind of give it to you. It wasn't as momentous as it was for the first Hellfire Gala.
When it felt like, I'm looking at this page where Scarlet Witch is revealing it just before the no, not before that, where she says, Sync, Jean, and Cyclops are on the team. Firestar's with them. Scott says, oh yeah, I want Forge. And Forge says, okay, well, if I'm on it, we got to have Havoc. So what was actually being voted on here?
And that part was really frustrating too, is that the team worked. I mean, they say it's a vote, right? So that means that every single person every mutant who ended up being on the team that had an opinion about who should be on the team got what they wanted. Emma got what she wanted. Everybody got what they wanted, and that's that. It didn't, like the last vote, the initial vote, it felt like the team didn't feel in sync in the sense that it didn't make sense on paper. It felt like they picked mutants who were chosen by the people because Sunfire didn't want it. Rogue was there, but Gambit wasn't. Those were storylines that made sense, but the team itself didn't make sense. And I like the fact that the team didn't make sense. This team feels like it was picked by Jerry Duggan or whoever, and that's what they needed, and that's what they got.
It felt a little bland, like fire and ice. Cool, right? All right, elementals, that makes sense. And then you got Havoc, who just happens to be, he's historically somebody who could participates in it. Sync they kept.
Cyclops Jr.
Yeah, right. And then Forge, it's already alluded to here that he's not going to be as big a participant, but also like he's not necessarily a combat dude. Like he's always a behind the scenes kind of guy. And I think if they can, maybe they can play that up, or they can do something with that. But that felt a little weird to like pick him out for no reason. But I like Magic. Magic's cool. I like her.
Yeah. I like the team composition overall. I just really didn't love the way that it kind of came about. And I think that's probably the story for me on this issue, is that overall I liked it, but there was a lot of the things that they did and the way they got to places that I didn't like.
Sure.
Real quick, it's worth noting that now Tony Stark has a mole on the X-Men in Firestar. He got in her ear, which I really liked. I love when Tony Stark is playing a game of his own, when he's got his own agenda, and it's especially interesting because, the mutants and the Avengers are in a weird place right now, as characters. So I'll be intrigued to see how that plays out. And then the other thing is that Moira has now just told the Eternals which mutants are important to Resurrection. I scoffed at that page for a few reasons. Number one, the knife throw was just like, all right, I'm just going to throw a knife at this person right away. And then Moira just telling them, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's very convenient, I felt. And it's leading right into AXE, Judgment Day. I don't know. That to me was whatever. Trapzord says, or no, not Trapzord. Oh, that's a comment from you, Kale. I thought it was Trapzord. I have a weird situation going up with the screen. I would say pull this, but I don't love to say pull it. I'm not gleeful to say pull it. I think there's enough that happened here that it's worth seeing for yourself. But you could also just take our summation of the issue, and we spoiled everything. Like, we told you what happened. If you don't want to spend $7, don't.
Yeah.
Some of the art is rough. It's not perfect. The Daughterman parts are good, but there were a lot of parts that I was just like, this is weak.
I saw Chris Anka's name, and I was like, okay. And we get 2 pages of heavily shadowed Chris Anka art. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, this book is $7. That's a hard pass. This is not worth it.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I might say no, just because you could read a summary and you know what you need to know for the next set of, like, I don't know if this even prepared enough for AXE.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they reveal the villains. I mean, sorry, the people who resurrect the X-Men, but I'm sure you'll learn that through context clues at some point during the run.
Yeah. All right, let's. It's hard to argue with that, unfortunately.
You'd be better off telling your friends to go buy a Joker book.
Let's talk about Eve of Judgment. This is the last book before Judgment Day. And from the literal first page, I was like, what did I get myself into?
I fell asleep.
This is by Kieran Gillen, if you couldn't tell, with art by Pasquale Ferry and colors by Dean White. Now, Judgment Day is an event that Marvel's doing. It's their big summer event that I have wanted very badly to be excited about. So much so that I have deluded myself into forgetting that I simply do not like the Eternals book. I love Immortal X-Men. Immortal X-Men's great, written by the same guy. For some reason, in Immortal X-Men, Kieran Gillen does not do what he does in this comic book, which is overwrite it to hell.
Yeah.
Did you not like the Eternals?
No.
No, that was Kale. Kale came
I
down
do.
to it.
I do like it. Or I like the Eternals book.
Sure.
It felt like some catch-up shit.
Yeah.
And I felt it too, because I was like, oh shit, what happened? And it was like, oh right, they're gonna tell me 40 different times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
But also like the antimatter bomb piece. I fell off of Eternals. Like some of that felt new, but their time on Lemuria was retracing steps. Back at Celestia, similarly retracing some steps. The only interesting reveal I think was Sinister. They have a Sinister. And I'm saying a Sinister because in one of the books that we're going to talk about, there's multiple. And I think that was the only interesting part about this issue is, oh, okay, they can potentially, they have a way in to Krakoa.
right. Sure. The problem is that there was an unbelievable amount of unnecessary dialogue. I want creators to do what they want to do, and I want to be the receiver of that. I don't dictate stories. But when I open a comic book and I see 2, 3, or 4 full boxes of monologue on the very first page, it's like, come on, man. Like, let me show this. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot of words. And that's just the first page. It doesn't stop. The second page, I know it's really small, but if you can see, look at how massive that dialogue box is. Look at how many words are in there. That's absurd. There's no need for that. What does it even say? Let's see. It's even a lovely day for Druig, the snake of the Eternals. He's crawled his way to the very top. He's Eternal Prime. His wildest dream come true at last. Perhaps now his awful ambition will be sated? Yes. Other small men on big thrones have been driven to paranoia from the insecurity. But perhaps Druig can overcome that and finally just be happy? Really?
I heard that in Korg's voice. I don't know why.
Got Korg on the brain.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't have an issue with the text boxes. That's the way that Kieran Gillen writes the Eternals, and I've gotten
the
used to
machine
that.
specifically.
And the machine. Yeah, and I've just gotten used to that style, and I think it's charming. I can get the frustration, but these text boxes, the way that these things are introduced, they work for me. I like them because I like the way that he characterizes the machine.
It's not just the text boxes. It's every character. Everybody in this comic book talks way too much.
Yeah, this book felt like a lot of table setting. I don't know. How long has it been since the last actual issue of Eternals?
A while now.
And I mean, I have to imagine that's the only reason this book exists is to remind us of where the Eternals are and what's going
Mhm.
on. Because boy, I did not remember any of this, and frankly, I could have just used a 1 page, catch up in the actual event.
The front, yeah, and that'd be good. I don't even remember Druig becoming Eternal Prime. I'm maybe like an issue or two behind, so it probably happens there. But um, it's not necessarily necessary information. Like you can figure this out again, similar to the Hellfire Gala. You can figure this out through context clues for during the event, right? Druig becomes Eternal Prime. Oh, they had Sinister, and the Eternals have been on Lemuria because they don't want to, or because they've been hiding. They've been hiding out there because of what they've learned. Boom. That's easy to catch somebody up on a page or two, and you're just into the event. This was fluff.
Yeah, I feel like there were so many wasted pages here. And it's one thing if because like some of the Hickman stuff's wordy too. I feel like Hickman is a master at saying exactly what needs to be said in few words if that's the call. But if there are going to be a lot of words, they're good words. Here it just felt like a lot of flour and fluff and kind of draggy, to be honest. Like the
Yeah.
dialogue just kind of dragged, and I still am at a point with the Eternals where I know who they are, I know the characters, but all of their motivations and all of their personalities aren't clear to me fully. And going into an event like this where they're the stars, I think that you could have done a better job of making me give a damn about whether they live or die or succeed. I'm still not sure how the Eternals, who are like the ones that are the stars of their book, I'm still not sure what their position even is. And I think this would have been a good time to at least give us an idea of that. Do they think that mutants are excess deviation? Is Druid bullshitting? Is all of this happening just because this is how Druid feels? Because if that's the case, I could skip that.
That's a really good point, actually, because it's not explained here, but our main, I guess our main Eternals, they don't really care. They're just horrified by the fact that if they get resurrected, a human life is killed,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's their beef, right? So they don't want to engage. They're actually neutral. Druig is being an asshole and reading into the mutants and saying, okay, well, these guys are an excess deviation because they can do X, Y, Z. So he's just being a dick, and the conflict is going to be, well, we need to stop him.
Well, but also the Avengers are gonna take issue with the fact that every time one of them dies, a person does.
Sure, but then with the Avengers there, which is why what's her face, Makari and Ajak, they're upset because their god, the Celestial, is now the Avengers' home base. So
Right.
that's how the three are getting tied together, and it feels kind of loose, honestly.
And the loose premise was interesting because we didn't quite know how they were going to fill in those blanks. And now that we are at the eve of judgment, I still don't know. But the difference between now and 6 months ago is that I'm not sure that I care.
Sure.
And everything I've read has brought me closer and closer to that feeling. And I don't want to feel that way. I really don't. Like, I want to be so pumped. But I just can't. I can't muster it. Go ahead.
It feels like when this was announced, we were in the middle of the Hellfire stuff, the Inferno stuff, and maybe this got pushed back or something. But like when this was announced, we were like, okay, let's go. Finally, some movement. The mutants and the Avengers. Okay, cool. The Eternals, fine. But now it's just like, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, dragging our feet.
Yeah. And then unfortunately on the art front, I Ferry's very talented. Pasquale Ferry's very talented. I have enjoyed their work many times before. For some reason, this issue to me was just like visually maybe the most unimpressive that I've seen Ferry. I think Ferry was Ferry not the artist on the Spider-Man What If that Chip Zdarsky did?
That sounds right.
I think he was, and I remember really enjoying that and other things in the past. I don't know if this was rushed or maybe I don't know, but for me this wasn't it.
This feels like a tack on, and I think like that's probably why it feels so bad.
Yeah. I would pass. Easy pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I hate to say it. Yeah.
And it was Pasquale Ferry.
Thank you.
Spider Shadow.
Who was he colored by? Can you tell?
I think it was Matt Hollingsworth.
That could be. The colors on this don't sit well on this.
Yes,
like.
Dean White is insanely talented as well. I just don't know if they mesh quite as well. And Dean is the normal colorist for Eternals proper, right? Coloring Assad, right?
Let's see.
Is that right?
I think I think so, and I think they tend to work together. But I could be completely off base.
What's interesting is that he it looks like he's trying to evoke that style from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think it works. He's almost like aping on it, and it doesn't look great.
Yeah. Unfortunate. So you guys are passing also?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like it's actually Matthew Wilson.
Matt Wilson. Okay. Cool.
Oh shit. Passing on this.
Yeah, big time. Let's talk Daredevil #1, if I can find the slide. There we go. So Daredevil #1, this is a 1-to-1 continuation, right? Nothing changed of the Daredevil saga that's been ongoing. Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto, Matthew Wilson on colors.
Wow, whole new creative team.
Yeah.
It's crazy. No wonder it was called All New, All Different Daredevil.
This was phenomenal. I thought this was real good. No, okay. Marco?
All right. I was like, all right. I didn't care about the stuff that was going on here. I think I didn't feel the tension. I think coming out of the event that we just came out of, like that was awesome, dude, right? And this felt like a pump the brakes, which fine, granted, right? You need to reestablish and sort of recenter, but I don't know what I'm caring about here. Like he is about to stop what's his face? The son of Fisk, but then they like just kick butt with his Goonies, and then they're just like, don't you do a bad thing or we're gonna get you. And it felt empty, especially coming out of like the repercussions that we just saw.
So I think the idea was to because they're trying to, it seems like Daredevil's trying, and Elektra are trying to do things differently. They're leaving New York. They're not trying to be killers or anything like that. And because this isn't Wilson Fisk, it's his son, Daredevil feels like, you know what? He deserves a chance. He was good to my brother. He and my brother had a good relationship. I'm going to give this guy a chance to prove me wrong that, there's good in the blood of the Fisks, So
but have a little warning just in case.
Exactly. For me, I thought that to me that worked out really well, especially because Daredevil's not going to be around to watch over him, which is why I thought Spider-Man being there was so smart. At the very beginning, when I saw the webs, I was like, "Wow, okay, need to sell a #1," but and especially this is like the second book this week that we're reading that Spider-Man's like semi-prominent in. So
You know, it's funny. I saw those webs and I went, "Why is Daredevil have webs?
I
How
can
did
see
he
that
get
too.
those in his sticks?"
But Spider-Man's inclusion actually led to one of my favorite comic book moments of all time. The conversation that Daredevil and Spider-Man have on the roof was one of the that conversation is the reason I read superhero comics. Because here are two characters that I have seen together my entire life. From when I watched the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s, and then I went all the way back and read old comic books, old Spider-Man stuff, and Daredevil was there. For all these years, I've been reading these two together. For them to have a moment on the roof where Daredevil, says to him, "Hey, I'm Matt Murdock." He reveals his identity, and Spider-Man is just like, "Dude, I'm so sorry for everything that you have been through. You've had such a hard time this last year." He says, Matt, I'm sorry you had to go through the past year by yourself. Leo Carraro, prison, Fisk, and I wish I could tell you who I am, but my secret identity is still alive. And I love you, man. But the way the past few years have gone for both of us." And then Daredevil says, "I get it. I really do. Maybe one day we can sit in our homes together and have nothing but trust. But for now, the world's a dangerous place, so let's go fix that." That to me is brilliant.
Yeah, you're
I,
superheroes. That's what I thought. I was like, all right, yeah.
But it's
I,
like
I,
there may and again, maybe it's because of how much I have invested in these characters, but all the things that they've been through, all the adventures that they have had, you forget that that in this world, yeah, we're just readers, but they're people. And they have hard times. They have rough situations. This sucks what they do. And for them to be able to have a normal conversation and for Spider-Man to just be sympathetic and say, "I'm sorry for what you've been through." I don't know. That got me.
okay.
yeah, I don't know. That didn't do a whole lot for me because that tool that okay, I'm going to take my mask off and he's going to suddenly remember everything. I feel like that's been used a lot. Um, so it felt just like another tool in Zdarsky's tool belt. It was fine. I think you're right. The emotion plays, and that friendship is really good. It's really strong. And it's what I like to see and would love to see more. But yeah, it just that whole thing just didn't do a ton for me.
I don't think I landed the same way. I respect that though. Like, it's cool that it hit you, but I don't know that it landed for me like that.
That's fair. It doesn't hurt to have somebody the caliber of Marco Cicchetto on this book. Like, look at Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Look how cool he looks.
Yeah,
It's the page I'm holding up is Spider-Man and Daredevil. Daredevil's just putting his mask on, and Spider-Man, has just shot the webs at the new Kingpin, and it's just so clean and crisp. Like, this is what comics. When I think about like Marvel comics, street level stuff in particular, this is what I think about.
That felt like old Casada art, like when he was on Daredevil.
Totally. The rest of the issue is really just Daredevil trying to see his ex, and that doesn't go well. And then we get introduced to a character who is new to me. I don't know if he's new overall, but he claims to be Daredevil's guardian angel. Robert Goldman.
They went to law school together.
They went to law school together, but apparently he's a god or he's a guardian angel or something or other. I don't know what to make of it.
And who is this girl? Kirsten?
Yeah, she's just one of.
She's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I think she first shows up in the Wade Samney run. She's been around a while.
I think that's. Okay. I feel like that's correct, but yeah, she's an ex of his, and They've got a lot of history. That's the first half of the book, or maybe it's more than a half. But in any event, there is a back end a piece of it that focuses on Elektra and what she's doing. She's went ahead of Daredevil to go and set the stage for their rebuilding of the Fist. And this part is by the same creative team, except Rafael De La Torre replaces Marco on art. And this,
I didn't even notice.
yeah. And this part is basically all action. It's Elektra versus Elektra and Stick versus Russian soldiers. Then it's Elektra and Stick versus each other.
It was cool to finally see myself represented in a Daredevil comic book.
Stick.
Yeah.
Maybe Old Man Kale. Maybe.
I like this art, Rafael De La Torre.
Yeah.
Real good. I liked how fluid it was. Just really felt the lines felt pretty loose and super dynamic. I thought it played into the action really, really well.
Yeah. Great art style, really cool like poses for Elektra to make her look awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Elektra as Daredevil is just so fucking cool.
It's real cool.
And I like how Stick tries to sort of say like, "Oh, this is your concession to make Matt join us is to dress up in this silly costume," and she's like, "No, this is what I want to do." Like, I like that. I like that this is her decision that she's making. The concession was not to kill, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think so.
And that's something that's been playing out, for a little while now, is turning her away from, murder. And we're seeing the end result of that now. I'm sure that, down the road that'll change or whatever. But for now, she's on the side of the angels.
Get back to that old status quo murder.
a little stabby. Miss old Elektra nachos.
Not nachos.
Sure.
Nachos.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Sorry, I misheard you. Yeah, I don't know. I think this was my book of the week. I really, really like it.
Came close, but it's not mine.
Ooh, okay. I'm interested. It's not my book of the week.
Pull? I say pull.
Pull. Yeah,
Definitely.
pull. Yeah, it's a good pull.
Yes, great.
They don't beat you over the head with it, but they do briefly show the Punisher, one panel.
Yeah.
And we know that that's where this is ultimately going. I have not ever been excited, I don't think, to see two street-level people clash more than I am for this.
Because he's the hand right now, right?
He's the hand of the hand.
And the fist.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going on between these factions.
Yeah.
The Punisher's new status quo, as it were, and whatever the Daredevils have going on.
The
double
Daredevils.
Ds.
I like that. Good stuff. All right, let's talk about Immortal X-Men #4.
Oh, fuck, we're still on X-Men? God damn.
We're
Wait.
still on
Kale,
X-Men.
I thought this was going to be your pick of the week.
No, stupid.
This was mine.
Why don't you use your brain?
Sorry, mine's off. I haven't plugged it back in since Thor.
So, Immortal X-Men. This is the good Kieran Gillen book. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. So he wrote this. Michel Bandini on art, David Curiel on colors, Clayton Cowles did the letters. I liked this issue less than I did the third. But the third was a high mark for Marvel Comics this year. So saying I liked it less than that is not saying a lot. I still thought this was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, the Destiny one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This, I think, I like that we've been going through like different characters and different POVs, and it was interesting to see this from Emma's perspective.
Yeah.
I have a very specific idea of what her voice is, and it's only ever experienced through other people. I don't know that I have scene one where it's pretty introspective about her, and I thought that was well done. I think her character is really strong, sympathetic, and especially in this book where she's just trying to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
The reveal of the Immortal X-Men, I thought she did a really good job. Like, she handled herself well. She handled the things that came at her pretty well, and to see her so collected, I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with this issue, and I thought Kieran Gillen did a really good job portraying her.
Yeah, this issue actually made the Hellfire Gala better for me.
What order did you read them in?
The Gala first, and then
Yeah,
this.
same.
I read this first and then the Gala, which I think is the approach. Like, I don't. It doesn't obviously doesn't matter, but I think that based on the way this book plays out, it feels like that's what's supposed to happen. But I'm not all the way sure, actually.
Because where does Cyclops learn? Well, that's where it's revealed that Cyclops had seen the club head. Whatchamacallit? Sinister.
No, that was revealed in X-Men proper.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, this book was them telling everybody else, which informed Emma knowing in Hellfire Gala.
I guess, yeah, because this book does take place before and after the event. So sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
Okay.
I read this first, and I enjoyed it so much that I was like, "Oh my god, can't wait to get to the Hellfire Gala." And then obviously that was, a bit of a letdown.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made the Hellfire. It was the spoonful of sugar.
Okay.
For the Hellfire Gala's medicine. It felt more like what I'm wanting from the X-Men, and more of what I was hoping for with the Hellfire Gala, even though the gala is supposed to be this big event. Nothing happened, and this felt like things moved more than at the gala for me.
For sure. I mean, as much as, like, for the X-Men, I think for sure, like, more things happen in the gala, but their implications are so far-reaching,
Yeah.
that this felt more immediate. It felt more pressing. It felt more personal. And I think I agree with you that that's why I liked it more, or a part of why. I also think it's just flat out better written.
Yeah. I like Gillen a lot more than Duggan. That's just me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna segue into the art as well. The art is stunning.
Yeah, this was real good.
Yeah, Bandini does a great job.
I like this, like, texture that he has over everything. It feels a little sandy, but he adds, like, shading with it. And I thought the thick lines really helped characters stand out. He would use a mix of thin and thin. When there were close-ups, you get to see their faces just kind of, like, really stood out. But then as you step a little bit farther back, he's able to draw these, like, really delicate lines to just help keep things sort of fluid. I liked it a lot. This was really good. I don't know if I've seen him on other stuff, but I enjoyed it.
So, the Sinister of it all. Sinister freaks out when he learns, or is told that there is this other Sinister.
Is the other Sinister Dr. Stasis?
Dr. Stasis, yes.
He's the club-headed one.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I want Gillen to be a little bit more clear. And obviously, Gillen's not the only person telling this story. There are multiple writers who, within the same month or so, this same situation has been addressed at least three times. And everybody's sort of spoon feeding us information about what it actually means. But then we also see that Sinister's got, the Moiras, which we knew about, and he goes back to his lab prepared to just reboot the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's like, wait a second. Is Destiny playing a game with me? Like, what's going on here? And so Destiny worked him over by basically saying nothing. She worked him over to the point where now he's like, no, let me just see how this plays out.
Yeah. Patience.
Right.
Yeah, what do? He reset himself, purge all my personalities, and clean install.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he, I guess I'm not sure.
Like he like rebooted himself so that the way I read it was he rebooted himself, keeping certain pieces of information away
From himself,
right?
and thereby everyone else. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all good. They decide not to just kill him, which I really, really, really wish they would do. But of course, we know that if they had, does this version of Sinister have the genes of Moira? Do we know that?
No, I thought I thought only
The clones, the Moira
Right.
clones, yeah. Well, then I wish they would kill him because they need to get this this fucker gone. Sinister's such a problem. Like, please kill him. But don't, because I really like him. But then he gets sucked away into space or who knows where, and that's kind of where things leave off.
This will be the Eternals hook for AXE. That's how Makari and what's her name get there. Sinister.
Makes
and
sense.
Ajak.
Right,
Oh,
makes
I
sense.
see. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So, are there historically different Sinisters?
Sinister's always cloning himself. There's always yeah.
But is the club thing new? Like, is there gonna be a Spades and then like
That story I think is just playing out. That's kind of the only frustrating element that I had with this issue was just like I kind of want to know more concretely what that means. But the only place my mind went with this whole thing was way back to House and Powers, where there's a sinister that Professor Xavier and Magneto mind wiped, but that's not the same Sinister.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that Dr. Stasis might be that Sinister.
interesting? The mind wipe one. Okay.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Either way, this was a great issue. I want to talk just a little bit more about like the Emma focus. Emma's a character that, who doesn't love Emma Frost? I love some of the touches that Gillen added to her here. Like she sleeps in diamond form. She's just kind of icy, but she doesn't want to be. In her heart of hearts, she wants to be more like Jean, but she can't. She talks about in this issue some woman like throws blood all over her, sheep blood, because she's angry that the mutants can resurrect themselves, but her husband is dead. And Emma, she says to herself, like, how does Charles deal with this, with letting them in all the time, meaning their minds, their pain.
Yeah.
And I feel like that took me 20 years back. That took me back to New X-Men by Morrison, where she first goes diamond, the death of all the children, because she can't handle the pain. Her body has a secondary mutation that gives her diamond form. That's what it reminded me of. And I thought Kieran's delivery and dialogue was very particular about letting us feel how frosty Emma is, but also how in pain she always is in. I really like that.
Yeah, she wants to be Jean Grey because, who doesn't want to be in a throuple, right?
That's what I'm saying. 3 dicks in that situation,
The only thing in the dialogue that I was bothered by, and it was in Hellfire Gala too. They keep bringing up all the bad men, and it's like, well, Mystique, Emma, and Destiny are all schemers too. Like, it's definitely, and Moira. It's definitely not just men that are scheming on Krakoa.
Yeah, but men are just annoying about it. They can't keep their fucking mouth shut. There's a difference between schemers and egomaniacal maniacs.
Emma Frost?
Moira has become an egomaniacal maniac. Emma is a schemer.
Emma's not egomaniacal?
No, she's a schemer. She keeps her mouth shut.
Emma Frost, the character who her whole identity is about how beautiful she is, right? Her whole gimmick. As vain as she is, she's not egomaniacal.
I don't think so.
You're off.
Well, okay.
Her whole introduction at like Hellfire Gala was like manipulating.
But she's changed. She's not a insane villain anymore. She's this teacher who wants to be soft. And an egomaniacal person doesn't want to be that.
Emma Frost has mad secrets.
She's a schemer.
And she blabbed to Cyclops about the stuff with Moira.
That's not. I don't think that's egomaniacal.
I think that you know what I think Kale's turning me on this side. She might be a schemer.
Schemers do things actually in secret. Ozymandias, a schemer.
No,
What?
hold on a second. No, hold on a second.
He didn't tell anyone. I'm not saying every egomaniacal person can't be a schemer, or that every schemer can't be egomaniacal. But I am saying Emma's a schemer.
Okay. Go ahead, Marco.
I was just saying, I think you used a bad example with Ozymandias.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of the, I did it 30 minutes ago and nobody knew about it.
That's fucking egomaniacal.
That's what I'm. That's a schemer.
He told everyone in the room what he did. How is that not egomaniacal?
After he'd done it.
Charles and Magneto told Emma after they had done it.
Ooh, okay. Question then: are Charles and Magneto now characterized as egomaniacal?
I think they all are. That's my point.
I think they're. Yeah, I think they're egomaniacal in general. Charles and Magneto.
I don't see how Emma skates by, but there's some kind of bias there because her 50 years of existence, she's never been anything but that. But
you know what? Maybe Gillen just did a good job making us sympathize.
I sympathize, but I sympathize with Charles and Eric and all the rest of them too. I mean, they're egomaniacal, but they have, they're doing it for a good reason, and so is she. Pull.
Yeah,
pull.
Book of the week. Pull.
No, not for me either.
Well, that only leaves one. So
does it? Interesting.
We're going to be talking about Dark Crisis, Worlds Without a Justice League, Superman. Number 1. Say that 5 times fast.
Fucking hell, number 1?
No, there's not going to be more. But
okay.
So this is by Tom King, with art by Chris Burnham, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we've got where's the thank you, Adriana Lucas on colors.
Glad we can help.
Appreciate it. Letters by Troy Pateri. Kale, since it's your book of the week, why don't you kick us off?
It's not my book of the week.
What?
Gotcha. This was fine. I like Chris Burnham.
What?
I don't know all this business about. I'll be interested to see what this is, but all this business of this alternate reality where John Kent grew up with Clark and he got to be there. I don't know. It felt like reliving my teenage years, and man, I don't need that.
I thought it was cute. I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with it, so this was for me like the that technique of like each chapter being a new year, and you get like an introduction into a part of John's life and how he's reacting to Clark, and at the end it tying together with, I never got these moments, and a lot of these moments were either things where he disobeyed, or he was being a bit difficult, and like those are the things that even looking back on he reflects and cherishes. I thought that worked pretty well. It hit me. I don't know, this was fun.
I loved it. This was a close second for me for Book of the Week.
Yeah, same.
Tom, when Tom King is in his emotional bag, he's very good at evoking it and putting it on the page. And I think he nails that in this issue time and time again. The basic sort of concept is that John, I guess, I don't know if it's when he turns 13 or in his 13th year or whatever, but he now his senses have heightened to the point where he can hear the cries and screams of people who aren't even on Earth. And all that death and destruction is eating away at him, and he wants to help. He wants to save people. He wants to do the right thing. And his father's always kind of like, look, man, you can only save so many people. You have to come to terms with the fact that you are one. You are one human or one person, and there are trillions, and whatever the term past trillion is to describe how many living beings there are across the universe that you can't save. Quintillion, and whatever's beyond that, maybe, who knows?
Septillion.
Thank you, Marco. And I really felt for John. I really, really felt for John, and I felt for Superman having to explain to his son why he can't do that, and why, even though it's so hard for you to put that aside, you have to do it. And when he has to go and save John, because John went and fought whoever that guy was, and is getting killed.
Orion.
That's Orion the first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both times, yeah. He looked weird because he's all purpley.
So yeah, I just thought that some of that stuff was brilliant. And if you're a parent, which none of us here are, Marco might be, but we don't know.
Not that we know, yeah.
If you're a parent, I would imagine that it resonates for you even without your son having superpowers, because all parents at some point have to save their children from something.
Yeah.
And showing up and being dad or being mom or whatever position it is that you play in your child's life, seeing them in pain, having to step up, that's a moment that has to be really emotional. And knowing that there are some battles you can't fight for your child, and you have to see them. Like the chapter 17, where John's beat to shit. That one got me.
Yeah. And I think Burnham does a really good job of evoking like faces. Like there's a part where he first fights Orion and he gets saved, and there's just this fury in his face. He has this whole like buttoned up lip, and his eyes get all big, and he has his fist, and he's just, I'm mad, and you can see that. And then when it comes to later where he's being tender with him and he sees that he's almost beaten to death, like he closes his eyes because he's in pain, and then he opens them again, and the face is soft because, well, he needs to be there for his son. He can't be mad. He's what has happened, and he's beat to shit, but I'm not gonna, that isn't the time to react in a negative way. And I think it's evoked really well in the art.
Yeah, I agree. I had high hopes for this issue just because of the cover, honestly, and I thought the premise was cool, but I wasn't sure exactly how Tom would tell the story, and I really love the way they did it. It's also worth explaining, or at least what I understand of what's happening here. This is not real. This is I get the idea that all the members of the Justice League who quote unquote died aren't really dead. They're being kept alive in a place where they're getting what they want. But it's fueling the energy of that is fueling some grander scheme that's playing out, that we'll see play out over in Dark Crisis. Because this issue also includes a backup story with Aquaman that's a similar idea, where ultimately all the people in Aquaman's life, all the Mera and Aqualad and whoever else, they're all happy and doing fine. And Aquaman wakes up from that and knows it's not true, and he's all pissed off. So that's just what's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say this feels like that episode of Justice League Unlimited, which is based on, I think an old Alan Moore story. Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow? No, not that one. What do you get? The Man Who Has Everything.
Oh, okay.
And it's the one where they're infected by the I think it's the Blackheart flower or something. And Superman in the cartoon episode, Superman imagines still being on Krypton, and Krypton exploding is Batman and Wonder Woman trying to get the flower off. And it's like his life is absolutely perfect and it's exactly the way he wants it, but he knows something is off.
All right.
Let's talk
His
about
backups.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say his backup story is booty.
Yeah.
Yeah, could not make heads or tails of it.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There's a fight and the paneling, not the best.
It really felt like everything was jammed in together.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
panels
a lot.
was super cramped.
Yeah, a lot happening on these pages. Just to show one, there's just people all over the place. There's just things in the background. There's so many things that are happening all at once. It was hard to follow. Maybe this is a better example.
Yeah.
But it's Aquaman punching some guy, and just so many things. All the characters celebrating some shark guy. There's just a lot going on the pages back there. Not very much felt tacked on. But let's talk about the Burnham art.
So good.
Yeah, really good. Traditionally, I love Burnham. There were a couple of panels, more than a couple, just where the mouth area. Burnham's mouths are really weird sometimes, and John had a weird mouth a few times. Clark had a weird mouth a few times. Other than that, though, I'm a big fan of what Burnham does.
I really like when an artist uses hatching for it, where they use these consistent lines to make the inks. That's a style that's really Matt Lesniewski. He uses that a lot. Who was it that did? Gabriel Walta sometimes does it, and it's a really good way to evoke shadow and depth, and really well executed here.
Yeah, this was great. Easy pull.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you like Superman, it's an easy pull.
And I like the colors. In a lot of scenarios, they were bright. They were, at least in the moments where we're outside in the light, I think they're used really well. They're just vibrant. And then once we're in the smaller moments, it's quieter.
I especially like Superman's costume. It's a little grayer.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's to show age. Maybe his suit's a little more faded than John's is. I like it though.
I like that he then gets that suit when he gets older and he flies off. That was cool.
Was that suit? I felt like he got a new bright one.
No, at least when he's 18.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this was awesome. And again, it's worth mentioning this, what we saw in this book, never happened. This is what Clark wishes he could have experienced because he missed John's teenage years completely. John was gone in space with Superman's father, and John aged. Time moves differently. So John, for the people on Earth, it was a few months. For John, it was his entire teenage years, pretty much.
Yeah.
So lots of emotion. I thought it was great. But that's it. Those are all the books we have for this week. Now, I was tagged 3 weeks ago or something like that
3 weeks I've had to wait for this.
Wow.
with reading Asterix. I was not given a number. I was told to read Asterix. So I read the first issue. I just was like, you know what? Let me just read the number one. That was one of the biggest wastes of time that I have ever in my life experienced.
Oh man, I knew you would hate it.
I can't even describe. Like, it was agonizing. Go ahead.
Asterix sells more than all the big two books combined. The
Currently?
last book that came out sold 7 million copies.
Holy shit.
Why?
French people have taste, man.
I don't think they do. Because that was, oof, whoa. Like, it wasn't funny. Nothing interesting happened. It was verbose. I can't. Man, I feel like I lost some
This probably-
power reading that.
Probably a dumb question, and I don't mean anything by it. You read it in English? Look.
Kale, how
just
the
a
fuck
question.
else am I gonna read?
Listen, I don't know if you speak any other language. What do I know?
You know
Maybe
me
they have a
for,
New
like,
York version.
7 years or some shit like that. I don't speak any other languages.
Yeah, you
Mild
think maybe it would
Spanish.
come up, but listen,
Yes, I read it in English.
maybe you've got some French in your Irish side. I don't know. So you watched the movie as well.
Hell no, I didn't watch no damn movie.
That was your punishment.
That was a condition.
I don't care. I had to set the stream up.
You piece
I
of shit.
had listen.
I can't believe.
One of you can run the stream, and then I will accept punishments like that. Okay, this was my punishment today.
Cop out. I also was tagged, however, or punished, depending on how you want to look at it.
No!
I had to read Scarrant Hood from Nick Roche and Chris O'Halloran.
Yeah.
I did not have a good time with that book.
Oh, dude. Really?
I don't want to say it was a waste of time, but boy, it affected the rest of the books I read today. I didn't like a lot of O'Halloran's art.
Oh, interesting.
It felt, the book itself it's about a school that's haunted, and it's the parents that have to investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
So the art doesn't really invoke horror to me. It felt just for the sake of reference, it felt like a Rostein and Ted Brandt look
Ooh,
Okay.
doing a horror book,
I like that.
but in their style, in the way that, well, I mean, if you like that, then maybe you like it. It didn't work for me. It didn't say horror, is what I'm.
Oh,
is
it was
what
a
I'm getting at.
clash. Like,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It
was
was
a little
brightly
too, like,
colored.
Yeah, too bright.
Yeah. The covers, I think it's the Nick Roche covers,
Yeah.
were incredible.
Yeah.
And did way more for the story than the rest of the book did.
Well, no, hold on. Nick Roche did the art. The Chris O'Halloran just did colors.
Okay. What else does Chris O'Halloran do?
He does. I know him from Colors. He did that one silent comic at Image. I forget what it's called, but he has a few other stuff. But this was all
This was all Nick Roche.
was
Okay,
all Nick
all
Roche,
right.
yeah.
Well, that's unfairly blamed then. But most of the book, aside from that, the dialogue is parents arguing,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, now what? It was, I have to. I can't deal with this haunting because I have to work and get my kid. I have to feed my kid. Oh no, I forgot to feed my kid. And that was the book.
But then the kid gets, taken away, and there's a whole like subplot with that, and
Yeah, neglectful parenting.
okay, well, yeah, I guess kind of.
This one just didn't work for me.
Dang. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
All right.
I'm upset, but I can handle it. Cry in the bathroom later.
All right. So all we have left are our books for next week. These are the. Go ahead, Gil.
Are you?
Oh, I have to tag.
someone?
Yes,
It's
of
your
course,
tag. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I was thrown off. So I decided I'm going to tag Marco.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm going to tag you with Greg Rucka's Black Magic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. I have that.
So this book is, to me, phenomenal. I'm not gonna make you read a lot, obviously. Just read. You can do the first issue, and then if you really like it, read the second one, I guess. Nicholas Scott on art. Nicholas Scott, ooh, she is talented. She is talented. Yeah. They did stuff on Wonder Woman together, I believe, and that was great.
Yeah.
And then this was phenomenal. So, if just the first two issues, if you can get through.
Okay.
Has that finished, or has that been in hiatus for ever?
I feel like every Greg Rucka book is in a weird stasis. I'm
Yeah.
not all the way sure the status of it. It had been on a really long hiatus. Then I saw an issue of it on the stands, and I got it. But then I feel like there were no more that I saw, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel like I remember it coming back at some point.
What's that, Marco?
Is Casanova a Rucka book?
No, that's Fraction.
Yeah.
Faction. Oh, okay.
Fraction and Ba and Moon.
Oh. Okay. All right.
That's
I'm
a
gonna
weird.
check.
That's a weird book.
I might have it. I think I have it.
All right. Well, you find that.
Yeah.
For next week, though, Marco chose Do a Powerbomb #2.
Yo, oh my, Sean, I'm so upset you were not on that fucking review, dude.
Me too. I'm upset I haven't read it.
Oh,
You still haven't read it?
Nope.
come on, man.
Dang.
That's a good ass book. That was one of the best first issues I think I've ever read for this year.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. It set everything up. The art was incredible. Just what is there, the emotional beats, and then where it leads off, hooked me from the get go. Page 1 to the last page, man. That was a really good book, and I'm so excited that Danny Warren Johnson is getting to do his thing because he's an incredible storyteller. The fact that he does both art duty and writing, and can put out something that is so well composed and hits all the kind of beats that you wanna have in a comic, introduces you to things. It's great, and I'm very excited for this next issue.
I wonder if that's why he wasn't able to draw Jurassic League.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. I don't know. But then you also chose Silver Coin #12.
Yeah, this is Stephanie Phillips. I like her,
Oh.
and so I'm looking forward to seeing what she has. It's been the hottest voices in comics, and she has a few hits, few misses, but her star is rising, and I think I like to see what she has to say with this kind of thing where she can kind of just let loose. And Walsh is on art. Yeah, give it to me.
Nazi zombies?
I believe so. Yeah.
Next up, we have Kale for Chainsaw Man 99.
Guess what? Book of the week.
Woo!
Chainsaw Man
You
98.
fucking got me.
Boom.
Got me.
It was a surprise. It was sort of a surprise drop. Chainsaw Man, I think it was announced maybe 2 weeks ago that it was finally coming back. It's been on hiatus for probably about a year. Easily my book of the week. It's a new status quo. Denji, the main character, is going to school. I'm in. Let's go. Actually, I'm not in. I'm waiting to binge.
Okay.
But I'm in. Let's go.
All right, fair enough. And then you also chose Dark Crisis Young Justice #2. Don't have a slide for that one, unfortunately.
So this I was really surprised by Dark Crisis Young Justice #1 because it reunites the Young Justice team all the way down to the character Arrowette, who left Young Justice to become a civilian, and she comes back, but Robin, Superboy, and Impulse disappear, and it turns out they're reliving the time that they put together the team Young Justice. And so it's this weird mix of current characters searching for characters who are reliving their past. And so it's got me in this weird mix of freshman year of high school, just loving the shit out of this book, and now being absolutely annoyed with the way the characters are acting. But I'm having fun. I'm very interested to see how they're going to get 6 issues out of this.
All right.
Nice.
And then for me, I chose Judgment Day #1.
All right. To which we will be judging.
We will be judging it next week.
I'm judging it right now.
You know what? The only thing I'm hoping for with this comic book is that there are no captions from the world.
Oh, I've got bad news for you, my friend.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that I'm going to have to suffer through that, but I'm willing to. It's going to include basically everyone relevant in Marvel right now from a character perspective. It's going to include Valerio Schiti art, who, is really talented. I can't lie and say I didn't wish Mark Brooks wasn't doing the interiors, because look at that cover. But Mark Brooks interiors, how much is that going to cost? Marvel would have to pull up the Brinks truck for that. I'm excited. It's an issue 1. I'm giving it that. It's an event issue 1.
Yeah.
It's getting that.
Okay.
Will I be happy? You'll have to tune in next week to find out.
If this gives me a reason to go to issue 2, I'm fine. Because Dark Crisis barely got us there. I'm looking to sneak past that.
Dude, Dark Crisis is still getting us there. I don't know what you're talking about.
For me, the thing with issue 1 was the invasion of Titan's Tower, right? And issue 2 up to the Green Lantern point with the invasion of Titan's Tower.
You liked it.
Like I said, I was fucking in.
Yeah.
But it careened off a cliff once that ended. So I don't know.
Yeah.
If Judgment Day will get me even remotely excited for issue 2, it'll probably be good.
Fair enough.
Cool.
We'll be talking about that and many more books next week on Pals Pulls. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/thecomicspals, youtube.com/thecomicspals. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. It's free to do. Helps us out a lot more than it costs you. Watch this show live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Eastern Saturdays for the main show. 10:15, I should say.
Ish.
We try to make the mark. Today's an outlier. Any Tyler-less episode is going to be an outlier. Until it won't be, which I'm aiming for, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, we're the Comics Pals signing off. Take care, guys.
See you next week.
Yo, I got Black Magic Volume 1, $3.
Woo. Steal.
I got the digital list price goes from print $9.99 to digital $7.99. Then the Kindle price is $3.99 plus my Comixology discount minus 40 cents. Look at that.
So you got it for $260?
I got it for $360.
All right, guys. Take care.